Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Trinidad and Tobago's top cop reapplies for consideration for the post of commissioner. This story takes the lead in our 1144th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Thursday, 1st July 2021. Details after this break.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Trinidad and Tobago's Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith is once again throwing his hat into the ring and reapplying for his current job for what would be a second term if he is successful. Here is TV6's Alicia Boucher with the details.
A very rough 3 years. That's how Police Commissioner Gary Griffith sums up his time in office thus far. Calculating his supporters coming from 80% of the population, Griffith says the remaining 20% did not want change, as chaos can sometimes be beneficial to some. He accuses 2 media outlets of launching what he calls a last-ditch smear campaign.
So to all of the persons who have hated me, discredited me, they tried to attack my family, demonize me, hated me, as I stated, I am an independent man. And so after speaking to my wife, she has given me permission to state that I intend to reapply for the post of Commissioner of Police. In fact, I wish to thank the Haiti Police Squad. I wish to thank those who spent the last 3 years attacking me. It is because of you that you have strengthened me. You have strengthened my resolve to reapply.
Griffith says there's a strong underground element that wants to see him gone, but he plans to protect the country to the best of his ability.
I refuse to stay down. I refuse to surrender. I refuse to walk away.
Commissioner Griffith is slamming a newspaper article which highlighted the free use of the AstroTurf at the St. James Police Barracks for the national squad under football coach Terry Fenwick, as well as the cost of hosting the Commissioner's Cup, for which the NLCB was approached for $1 million in sponsorship to offset the cost.
The Commissioner's Cup had over 46 teams. When you put about 22 odd players, that's about 1,000 players. $200 odd for a jersey, a pants, and a pair of socks. So it was $200,000 alone just for the uniform. We had to say about meals, transportation, accommodation, security, equipment, maintaining the grounds all over the country. And why do we do that? 1,000 young men got the ability to show themselves, to be able to show and listen, this is what I can do. They would never have been given that opportunity. It brought streets together, it brought communities together, it brought families together. It was able to build, because that is what sport can do.
Griffith says the income to be generated because of the upgrades to the TTPS's sporting fields is around $1 million per annum, whereas before, these grounds weren't generating a cent toward revenue. On another note, he urged his critics to apply for the top cop post.
This is your chance, because for 3 years you've always been telling me what I should and should not do. So let's see if you're better qualified, whether you're better experienced, whether you're better trained, whether you have what it takes. So I ask you all, don't calculate up the place. So go ahead, now is your chance to apply and see what it feels like to be second place.
Commissioner Griffith is also calling on law-abiding citizens to use their loved ones to fight for what is right, even in the midst of adversities. As he says, good will always overcome evil. Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown comments on G7 tax pledge. Courtney Joseph of ABS News filed this short report.
Whenever you try to resolve some of the issues, in your respective countries, there are unintended consequences. And we think that this particular 15% minimum tax is going to create a fundamental problem for many of us within the region.
Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, the Honorable Gaston Brown, was at the time addressing the minimum corporate tax rate of 15% agreed by the G7 countries earlier this month. The world's richest nations are seeking to reduce both tax competition between countries and tax evasion by large corporations. Prime Minister Brown is arguing that the adoption of the tax has serious implications for Caribbean economies and their ability to participate fairly on the global financial stage.
You're literally saying to us that we cannot compete on tax rates, that we have to follow whatever rates you set for yourselves. Now, you have to understand with small countries in the Caribbean, in particular those in the OECS, they're small countries that just do not have the type of capacity to compete in the International Committee.
The Prime Minister wants the United Kingdom's High Commissioner to Barbados and Eastern Caribbean, Scott Fersidon Wood, to champion the region's position on this issue. He has this proposition.
The billions of dollars that they have, they're not stored in our jurisdiction. They are literally stored or kept within the G7 countries. So I'm of the view that maybe you should be targeting where they hold their monies in your very country.
The G7 nations and G20 nations are expected to meet in July to discuss the adoption of the tax on a wider scale. If discussions are successful, an agreement could be signed by October 2021. Courtney Joseph, ABS News.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
After 15 months of inactivity at Port Castries, the Celebrity Millennium cruise ship dropped anchor in Port Castries, signaling the return of the cruise tourism sector in St. Lucia. The arrival of the cruise ship was met with jubilation by tourism officials, cruise tour companies, and various other stakeholders. Solage Alfred of HTS News Force has more.
Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue sur ici. Just give us a wave, just give us a wave wherever you are. Give us a wave, let us know that you're here.
A cheerful welcome for passengers aboard the Celebrity Millennium cruise ship as the vessel pulled into Port Castries on Tuesday morning. Prime Minister Alan Chasney was on hand to provide a token of appreciation to the ship's captain for a successful berthing at the arrival pier.
Today is a very exciting moment. We have been working with the cruise industry since March of 2020 and very actively to try to get their return, which was originally scheduled for October, November of 2020. So to say that a lot of work has gone into this is an understatement. I want to thank the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Tourism, and all of the stakeholders for their consistency, perseverance, and sticking through this. So today is the culmination of a lot of work and effort to see Celebrity Millennium coming back into our shores.
The return of cruise tourism is being touted for the expected impact on a number of sectors which rely on the movement of visitors to attractions and sites. Vendors at the arcade and other businesses which rely on the hospitality sector are eager to earn again.
Oh, well, a tremendous day for St. Lucia. All the workers that have been out of work since the pandemic began. This really is an absolutely fantastic day for them. A lot of self-employed individuals, the vendors at the arcade, the vendors at the craft market as well. I really want to thank the Permanent Secretary and Beverly, the CEO of the Tourism Authority, for the work that they have put in. I want to personally thank the Prime Minister, who really has been leading this from the front on the FCCA task force with the rest of the Caribbean. It's an absolutely amazing day for all of us.
Representatives of specialist cruise ship tour companies like Cox & Company Limited underscored the significance of the cruise visit, the first since the disruption caused by the pandemic in March 2020.
Our company, our staff, our tour guides, the drivers of the buses, we have not had any work since the middle of March of 2020. So today is an unprecedented day. I have been working in the cruise industry from 1984, and we have never gone through this sort of interruption in our business. However, Cox & Companies was started in 1926 by my grandparents, and we never stopped, and we're not going to stop now. We are back. I would definitely like to thank the Ministry of Tourism and all that they did to work with us to bring the ships back to St. Lucia.
The fanfare and excitement continued throughout the day, with some lucky visitors snagging prizes, making their trip to the island a memorable one. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.
Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley pleads with Barbadians who have not yet received the COVID-19 jab to reconsider doing so for the sake of saving lives, the economy, and putting more people back to work.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley pleads with Barbadians and residents who have not yet received the COVID-19 vaccine to reconsider doing so for the sake of saving lives, the economy, and putting more people back to work. Delivering remarks at the Grantley Adams International Airport, where government accepted a donation of 30,000 doses of the Sinopharm COVID vaccine from China, Mottley said while a vaccinated person can still get the virus, there's strong evidence that they're less likely to become seriously ill or die.
I ask the people of this country, who I love dearly, to please consider these things. I don't have the capacity to order anybody to do anything when it comes to a vaccine. But I also want you to know that you have to pick sense from what is going on. And all of the conspiracy theories and all of the fake news that is out there on the internet, the question is, in whose interest is it? Because those of us who take the tool that exists to minimize sickness and to minimize death know the worth of the vaccine. Like with everything else in life, there's always a small risk. But the truth is that the risk of not taking it is far greater for you to get ill and for something to happen to somebody that you love than if you take it.
As the country prepares to lift its curfew on Thursday, the Prime Minister is also urging Barbadians not to drop their guard.
A few weeks ago, the people of Australia were a model for those of us looking on with respect to people who were managing COVID. Today, as we speak in Australia, they are struggling to be able to contain the spread in parts of Australia. A few weeks ago, St. Kitts was a model in the Caribbean. Today, as we speak, St. Kitts is in perhaps one of the most comprehensive lockdowns for days at a time, not hours at a time. And I start from there because I really feel that even though we have turned the corner from the worst moments, we must not let down our guard. And we must not let our guard down at all.
Meanwhile, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George assures the Sinopharm vaccine is safe and effective. The Chinese ambassador said his government, which has pledged to support developing countries with their COVID-19 fight, will continue to lend a helping hand.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.